and start. So good morning, everybody. This is Symon Vegro, and I'm delighted to welcome everyone joining today's Newsbite and on Zoom. I'd like to say hello to the large number of people who watch it live and also the numerous people who watch it later. We've got an increasing number of people watch it later on Facebook and various mediums, which we'll discuss in a moment. Just a quick usual brief housekeeping message from me before we get going. People joining are automatically muted with video turned off, and if you want to preserve your anonymity still further, you can. Change your name in Zoom. You can use the chat function to send messages. This is being live streamed to the Active in Redbourn Facebook page, and later on will be copied to the Redbourners page. Have I got that right, producer?
You have.
Fantastic. Have I forgotten anything else?
No.
Brilliant. So I've got thumbs up for the production team. In that case, I'm going to hand over to Liz. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Excellent. And for those of you that don't know, Liz regularly comes on the Newsbite. Liz is at the health centre in the village. So Liz, can you give us an update today and tell us what exciting news you've got for us today?
I can. First of all, just around the vaccine, I usually do a little update on that. We're now inviting our 36-year-olds. And so if you are in the group between 30 and 39, you will receive your invite very shortly to have your vaccine. So we're getting down the age groups quite quickly now, which is really, really good news. You may have seen in the media this week, we have put some stuff on our Facebook page that all under 40s now that have not been offered a vaccine yet will be offered an alternative to AstraZeneca. If you are in that age group, i.e. under 40, and you have already had your first vaccine and that was AstraZeneca and you've had that with no problem, then you should continue to have your second with AstraZeneca. All of the problems that they've had, which are very, very few, very, very minor side effects, well, not minor side effects, but very few people, it's always been after the first vaccine. So if you had the first vaccine with no problems, then please go ahead and have the second as usual. But if you're under 40 and you've not had anything yet, then you'll be offered something as an alternative to AstraZeneca. So it will be Pfizer or Moderna. For those over 40, just to reiterate, unfortunately there is no choice in a pandemic. We have to give, if everybody chose, it would just, the system just wouldn't work. Yep. So we do have to stick to the rules, and there isn't a choice. So please be mindful of that. There is so much information if you do want to research about the different vaccines on the government website. So please go there to have a little look. If you're pregnant and you're over 40, then you will also get an alternative to AstraZeneca. So that's just a little bit of update about that. We're hoping, but by the end of July, that everybody will have been vaccinated. The 18 to 29-year-olds we're hoping to invite from about the 7th of June. So if people are interested of when that age group might be called, it'll be from probably onwards from the 7th of June. We may well also start to invite people for their second vaccines earlier than the 11 to 12 weeks. So if you get an invitation for your second vaccine at an earlier stage, i.e. before you were expecting it, then it is legitimate. Please respond, please come and have it earlier. As long as there's been 3 weeks between vaccine 1 and vaccine 2, you can have it. And as the supply is good, we're going to try and get people done a little bit sooner. To meet that end of July deadline. So that's it about the vaccines. The surgery, we're doing some campaigns at the moment. You may have seen on social media, we've done some campaigns for people to join our PPG, which is our patient participation group. So if you'd like to be involved with the patient participation group, we meet every other month on a Wednesday evening just for an hour, and we're doing it virtually, so you don't have to leave home, and it's just an opportunity for you to discuss the surgery, discuss things from a patient's point of view, and it's for us to receive feedback, etc. It's quite a small group at the moment, and we would dearly like some more people to join it. So if you are interested, please get in touch via the website to get involved. We'd also really like everybody to download the NHS app. This is going to become your COVID vaccine passport. So if you've got access to a computer or a smartphone, then please go on and download the NHS app. As I say, it will become the vaccine passport, but it also does enable you to order your repeat prescriptions, book appointments, cancel appointments, and also manage referrals into secondary care. So I think people can get on board with that. The sooner the better would be great, because I think it's where lots of things are going to be contained in that app as the NHS moves forward. And in conjunction with that, it's a way for you to contact us for e-consultations, which we're really trying to promote for people to use that rather than for non-urgent things, things like prescription requests or even medical opinions about things that aren't urgent, to try and free up our telephone lines, because we know they're busy. So we want them to be as free as possible for those that don't have access to the internet, and for those that have got urgent problems. If your problem can at all be dealt with online, then that's the best way to contact us. And those are responded to within 48 hours, but often a lot sooner. So it really is the best way to contact us. So that's what we're trying to do, to try and free up the telephone lines, because nobody wants to sit in a queue. I completely understand that, but there's a lot of traffic on those phone lines that could be dealt with by not a phone call. Okay. Also, just as a completely different thing, I was asked to do a piece about lockdown life, about how it had affected our surgery. And I believe in the St Albans Museum in the town centre, there's a little exhibition that's being run about lockdown life, and lots of different communities, businesses across the area have contributed to it. And there is a little bit about the surgery in there. So if you're in town, shopping, having a coffee, and you've got a spare 5 minutes, then pop in and have a little look. I think it'd be quite interesting to see how lockdown had affected all our different communities. And that was all from me, unless there's any questions.
Well, thank you very much. Just to push you back, can I just ask you about the NHS app again quickly? You recommended it a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, when I last spoke to you, and I think it's brilliant. There are more than one NHS app, aren't there? There's different ones. There's
yeah, it's not to be confused with
which one they need.
Yeah, so it's just Google the NHS app, and it's not. There is an NHS COVID-19 app, which is very different. That's to do with, you know, logging in when you're going to a restaurant and scanning the QR codes and things like that. It's not that, and track and trace. It's just called the NHS app.
Super, and it is really good, isn't it? I downloaded it myself, and it's really good indeed. Bit of faff. I don't know about you. I thought a bit of faffing to sort of get it set up, but once it's set up, you're in. Yeah,
I mean, the benefit for us is that obviously they have to verify your identification because, you know, it's linked to your medical records, so they need to make sure they're giving it to the right person. So you take a photograph using your mobile of your driving license or your passport, and then it will, in a few hours time, it will then tell you that they've verified who you are. So for us, that's great, because with the patient access, which is we're still using, still functioning, and that's, you know, if you've got a patient access, that's fine. But we have to verify the ID, and so it takes a step out for us if people use the NHS app.
Super, thank you very much, Liz. So anything else from you today, or is that you finished?
That's everything from me. Yep.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. As always, keep up the good work. We're delighted to have you on. Hope you have you again soon, and have a lovely day.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Much, Liz.
Bye.
Bye. I'd now like to move on to Will, who cut it a little bit fine today. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Simon. Yes, I did. I was stuck behind a lorry that couldn't deliver some building materials and check a lane.
Nice. Well, we all have faith, if that's the right, if I can use that term, that you'd make it in time.
3-point turn and up through the park and round a different way eventually.
Nice.
It was going to be a while otherwise.
Well, I hope you're not. I hope you're not stressed or anything. I hope you're nice and relaxed.
No. There are plenty of things that stress me, but that isn't one of them.
Oh, good. So what have you got for us today, Will? Any thoughts this week?
Yeah, I was just going to reflect on something remarkable that happened on the 4th of May, 8 days ago. Remarkable, but probably unnoticed by nearly everyone. Was it Jedi Day? May the 4th be with you and all that. No, it wasn't that. It actually would have been my late grandpa's birthday, and I was very fond of him, but not that either. It was also the day that I met Claire, my now wife, 29 years ago, in a rather dingy nightclub in Gas Street Basin, Birmingham. Some things are just meant to be, eh?
Yeah.
No. Well, only she and I knew about that, the significance of that date. And we did exchange a WhatsApp message. So how romantic are we? Actually, the thing that happened on the 4th of May, 8 days ago, and would have pretty much gone unnoticed, was a change in the marriage laws in this country. Now, I have to say that this is a very rare thing. Most of the laws to do with marriage in this country find their roots in late medieval times, and with only minor changes here and there, have carried on in a pretty similar vein for several hundred years. And because the laws are ancient, it does mean that there are some rather odd and quirky features that young couples often find surprising. First thing to say is that whenever a couple get married in this country, they have to give public notice of their intention to marry. Whilst their love for each other is a private matter, their marriage is not, and public notice is given to advise society of their intended change in status. It's a way in which a local community can play their part in safeguarding against legal impediment, usually in one of two forms. Either the couple are already related to each other or related by the marriage of a close blood relation, and this is about to become incest, or one of them is already married to somebody else, and this is about to be polygamy. So public notice is given in some form or other before the wedding. If you marry in a registry office, the names of the couple are posted on a notice board at the registry office for 15 days. Not very glamorous and romantic. And which of us, let's face it, goes to our registry office every couple of weeks to check the names that are being posted on the notice boards there. But if the couple are getting married in church and are British or EU nationals, the usual process then is banns, B-A-N-N-S. And their names are read out at the main church service on 3 consecutive Sundays within 3 months of the wedding date. And the congregation are asked if there's any reason in law that they may not marry one another. It's slightly odd. It harks back to a time when to make an announcement in church was to tell the whole community. And these days, I'm pretty clear that although we enjoy warm support and a good attendance at St Mary's, 6,000 people are not present for our 9:30 morning service in the churchyard. More's the pity. But that's still the process of giving notice in the community that's in place. And that hasn't changed yet, although there will be some change on the 1st of July as to who is eligible to have bans as their legal preliminary, largely to do with immigration status post-Brexit. So in fact, the marriage laws, having not changed much for decades, will change twice this year. But the main changes that happened on the 4th of May and are now in force are to do with how marriages are registered. The first is that I will no longer issue a marriage certificate at the wedding. Instead, we will complete paperwork, and then the marriage certificate will be issued by the local registrar several weeks after the wedding has been solemnized. So our marriage registers will close. We have registers dating back to the second half of the 19th century. We don't keep those. They're based in the county archive in Hertford. But instead, I will keep a register not of marriages, and there's a subtle but important difference here. So the register I will keep is not of the marriages, but of the marriage services that have taken place at St Mary's going forward. I think and then the certificate will follow. And I think the main reason for this change is so that all marriage certificates, irrespective of where the wedding has happened, will be issued from the same place. It will help to provide further checks and guards against sham marriages. But I will miss the battles with our church fountain pen. And just as an aside for a moment, it's a pen that's filled with a special diamine ink. It means that as the ink ages and oxidizes, rather than fading, it actually gets darker and darker. The result is that the marriage registers and certificates get really dark over time and are much easier to read in the future. but it's really difficult to get off your fingers if you get into, if you have an accident. But the other change that happened on the 4th of May was about the records that were relating to marriages, the information required. Until now, the bride and groom were still required to give details of their father's name and occupation. It harked back to a time when many surnames were derived from a craft or trade: John the baker's son, Cooper, Smith, and so on. And whilst that provides interesting genealogical information and a snapshot into social history when we're looking at our family trees, it's fairly embarrassing for me to ask couples about all this, and especially the bride-to-be, as if she was somehow the property of her father, rather than the autonomous human being that she actually is. It jars with modern thinking, and all that stuff about the father giving their daughter's hand in marriage does too, unless it's only the quaint tradition and her leaving one family and joining her husband in forming a new family together. The recording of the father's name and occupation was even more awkward and uncomfortable when the bride or groom was estranged from their biological father. Until the 4th of May, there was no allowance for an alternative. It was either the father's name and occupation, or it was left blank. No recognition of a stepfather who'd lovingly brought up that person as if their own flesh and blood from a few months old. No opportunity to provide the details of a single mother who's valiantly brought this person up single-handedly. Thankfully, that has all changed, and mothers and step-parents can be recorded instead. It speaks of who we belong to in our families and in our relationships. These things, of course, come in many shapes and sizes. Claire is not the vicar's wife. I think I'm much more likely the head teacher's husband. After all, I've been a kept man for a long time. But better than that, we belong to each other. The new marriage laws help us to reflect that more appropriately. And for that, I'm very grateful.
Very good, Will. As you said, that completely passed me by. I had no idea that was going on. I thought for one horrible minute you were going to say that it's all gone digital, following on from Liz, when you said that there's no longer the process has changed. Perhaps it's all on a wedding app or something. Do you think that day will come?
They might scan and digitize them, but there's always going to be a need for kind of hard copy for some legal documents and records, I think. And so I think the days of a Zoom wedding are some way off, thank God. I think we will actually physically have to be in the same place when couples get married. And long may that continue, because that's a lovely thing to share in, whether you're the vicar, the bride or groom, or whether you're a guest.
Absolutely, that's a bit of a relief. So just before you finish, when you were talking there, I thought, first of all, in the most serious add-on about Jane Eyre, the wonderful scene in Jane Eyre. But then I thought about the wonderful scene in The Vicar of Dibley. Do you remember when the marriage is going on, the woman rushes in from the back and it turns out to be the wrong wedding? One of the great bits one of the great bits of comedy, I think, on British television.
Yeah, I've never had that before, but I have had somebody attend the wrong funeral at the crematorium, because there are two chapels, and at the end of the service, he said, I didn't really know that about this person's life or whatever. They'd been in the wrong service. All sorts of things they were discovering about the wrong person. But anyway, it was a lovely service nonetheless.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you've never had any people bursting in saying people can't get married. Thank you, Will, as always. Lovely to hear from you.
Pleasure.
Have a lovely day, and we'll catch up with you again very soon.
Thanks very much, Will. Simon.
Thank you. And now on to Jez. Jez, good morning.
Morning, Simon. How are you?
Exceptional, thank you, Jez. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Enjoying the slightly sunnier weather and warmer weather than we've had over the past few weeks.
Absolutely. Now, you've not been on the Newsbite before, so some people may not know you. So just a quick introduction from me. Jez is an elite cyclist in Redbourn and as a coach extraordinaire. God knows how many sports you coach, Jez. So a sporting aficionado, I think, is the term I'd use.
Thank you, Simon. Appreciate it. I wouldn't quite. I think Simon's been very, very kind to me by calling me an elite cyclist. I'm certainly not in that category, but Simon and I have shared many a great cycle ride up many of the Tour de France hills, which was fantastic, and it was a great experience for both of us, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you, Simon. I appreciate it.
No, it was good. I just remember the first time we went to have outdoors, but that's for another day.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, Jez, great of you to come on at fairly short notice as well. You're going to give us a little bit of an update on the leisure centre and how things are going. So over to you, really.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Simon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for giving me the time. I'll keep this quite short, but very keen to keep you all updated as to the plans for the recreation centre. Just a bit about me. So Jez Riley, I'm a member of the Trust. I've been in the village for about 11 years. I live up in Lords Meadow, and it's a fantastic village and surrounding community. And hopefully these plans will help everyone in the village and the wider community as well. So look, the first thing I wanted to say was a massive thanks to everybody across the community and within the village. I'll start by giving an update on where we got to with the survey. We obviously issued the survey in two parts. There was the online survey that we put out, and then obviously the leaflet drop. And thank you to everybody that helped with the leaflet drop as well. Just a quick summary on that. We had over 248 online responses, and we had 59 paper responses. Of the 59 paper responses, I'll just give some sort of brief calculations and data. We had 46 responses that strongly agreed with the proposals, and we had 13 that was in a disagreement or strongly disagreed. We have scanned and archived all of the paper copies, and clearly I've got copies of all of the electronic responses as well. So if anybody is ever interested in seeing some of that data, we're more than happy to share that. Please contact ourselves through the Facebook page or through our usual email address. In terms of the online survey, obviously I can break that down into slightly more data. We did post the results on our Facebook page, and happy to share those again. What we did on the Facebook page was share a summary against each of the 6 questions. Overall, 82% strongly agreed when we summarised all of the responses, and 2% strongly disagreed. So it was really good feedback, both in terms of the paper response and the online survey in terms of strongly in agreement with the plans, which is great news. And again, thank you to everyone who took the time to either respond to the survey or the many comments that we got through email and on Facebook as well. The main question areas focused on 2. One was around the swimming pool.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Everybody's into the swimming pool, aren't they?
No, it's a really good one, and it was something that came out quite a lot in the both the responses and some of the comments that we heard from people and various stakeholders. And then the second was the Jarvis funding. Let me tackle the swimming pool one first, if you don't mind. Yeah. Look, it is a key sport. It's one that we're all very interested in, and I certainly know from my own family we're very keen on swimming as well. We looked at the viability, and we know that Redbourn 900 looked at the viability as well some time ago. And realistically, because of the other swimming sort of facilities that we have, particularly in Harpenden, particularly in St Albans, the feeling is that the viability from a financial perspective, sorry, easy for me to say, isn't there at this moment in time. And because we're getting some sort of personal investment, we obviously need to make some decisions and some critical decisions as to which sports that or services and recreational facilities we provide. But look, we'll continue to look into it. But at this stage, it does seem, that as Redbourn 900 found, it would be not viable for us to progress with that, given that there's the new swimming pool facilities in Harpenden as well.
Yep.
Just wanted to clarify that we are still working and including in the plans the 1 kilometre track, which will go around the perimeter of the backfield. That's still something that we're very keen on. We thought that would be useful for runners, for people that want to sort of have a short cycling track, people for even to learn to cycle in. So that is definitely forming part of the plan as well. With regards to Jarvis, our planning is separate, and our planning application will be separate to any of the Jarvis plans. We were in a very interesting situation where we feel we're sort of catch-22 with the Jarvis funding. you know, we've got to keep the centre viable, and we've got to keep it as a facility for all the village to share and use. And that's something that we're very, very keen and passionate about. And we felt that, look, there is a possibility that if we don't perhaps sort of get into bed with Jarvis, there could be an issue whereby the long-term future of the centre is just not viable. And that's not something we want to happen. We want to keep the recreational facilities there. So
Sure.
we worked in tandem with them, but just to reassure everybody, our plans are very much separate from the overall Jarvis planning that's going through. Just a very quick update. I'm conscious of time. Sorry, Simon, and you know I can waffle on, so apologies. In terms of where we are in the planning process, so on the 8th of April, we had our pre-application planning meeting with St Albans District Council, which went well. There was some feedback from that, which we're working through. Our plans at the moment is to try and get the final plans ready for submission by the end of July. And the plan is that we're going to continue to work with all the stakeholders. So we'll continue to work with the cricket club, the bowls club, the tennis club, Colts, and the local community to keep you updated as to how those plans progress and the changes that we've been asked to meet. So during June, we'll definitely be providing more updates through this forum, through our Facebook page, and also through various meetings with the various clubs and community committees that we have within Redbourn to keep you fully updated as to the plans. The last two things I just wanted to say, we are looking to make some minor amendments to the gym in the recreation centre, and that's separate to the overall plans. The reason for that is because at the moment, because of the government social distancing guidelines, we're unable to open the gym because it's not big enough to keep people socially distanced. So what we're looking to do is to make some minor modifications in the interior to open up the space to allow us to open the gym as quickly as we can in line with social guidelines. Now, we've got some builders that are currently giving us some estimates. Once we have those estimates approved and the timeline agreed, again, we'll give you more information as to when we hope to open the gym. That said, and finally, you know, we continue to have the centre open for a number of the outside facilities. So cricket has started, the bowls has reopened, Colts football have been using it as well. And we've put a number of sort of permanent nets into the backfield to keep the you know, to make it available for everybody should they wish to play football or have just a general kick around. And obviously the centre grounds are open for everybody to use freely for dog walkers, etc. as well. So look, from a trust perspective, I just wanted to say a massive thanks to everybody in the community. We really do appreciate the support. I'll continue with the feedback. And as I say, we'll give you an update probably towards the middle of June with regards to the plan and the process and the updated plans, and also when we hope to open the refurbished gym.
Jez, brilliant, brilliant. There's a career for you in broadcasting when you finish being an elite cyclist.
I'm not too sure.
Just a real quick one before you finish, Jez. That was a really super update. Thank you. Covered everything I was going to ask myself, actually. If the timescales work out as you want them to in terms of the planning process, just a quick, I know it's a bit ish, but when do you think the whole thing might be complete? Say phase 1, for example.
Yeah, great question, Simon. I should have picked up on that. My apologies. Ideally, assuming that we get the planning approval, say August timeframe, we hope within about sort of 18 months from that timeline. Now, clearly, we're still working with the cricket club because we don't want to impact, obviously, we're not impacting this season, and we don't really want to impact next season for them either. But broadly, it'll be about 18 months from, we think, for the completion of phase 1, once we get the planning approval.
Super, Jez, fantastic. Thank you very much. So by the sound of it, we need to get you back on again in about a month and see how things are going in mid-June or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be our pleasure. We'd really look forward to it. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Jez.
Thanks again.
Thanks very much for coming on, and have a good day.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. Okay, and now I'm going to go on to an extended version of what's new this week. Olive, are you out there?
Yes, I'm out there. I hope you can hear me. Actually, I've just realised I've not done something I should have done there. Hang on a moment.
This is the cue for we're not the BBC.
Yeah.
So now Olive is going to deliver an extended what's new this week with some exciting developments. Over to you, Olive.
Well, the first thing is, I'm really pleased, Coffee on and Off the Common is back again from the beginning of June. On the Common, Monday to Wednesday, 9:15 to 12 o'clock at the Cricket Pavilion, and Off the Common on Thursday, 10 to 12 in the Village Hall. So that's another little stake in the ground of things that are coming back into operation. I think I've said before, May the 23rd, don't forget the virtual fun run. And I should point out that you can walk this fun run. You don't have to run it. And you've all had a leaflet drop in every household for the fun run and the fun day, which is on July the 3rd. And please put them up in your windows to advertise them to other people. We would be really grateful for the moment if you could do that. If anybody hasn't received a free copy of After Lockdown, Redbourn's Guide to Healthy Living, please let us know, because they were delivered externally and we just want to make sure that everybody's got a copy. They've been very well received and people are finding them very useful. So please let us know if you didn't get one. So that's the first bit of what's new. The second bit of what's new is I was amazed. I've recently been looking at the Sustainability Festival in St Albans, and I just have to play you this video because it's only short and it's just lovely, and it was produced by the St Albans Sustainability Festival. Join us in the Sustainability Festival. Take a bike ride, enjoy nature, learn how to mend things, great. The Sustainability Festival.
Can I just say, I thought the Wombledons only lived in Wimbledon.
Well, who knows?
They're now in Redbourn.
See, St Albans seems to have adopted them. So that's the first little video I have. And the second one, I was looking at the, oops, I'm going to play that one again. I was looking at this website, sustfest.org, and I found the brochure for that St Albans have produced, and I was absolutely blown away with all the different activities that are going on during this period of just over a week, and I think it's been extended as well. So I'm just going to play this little video, which is a video of the brochure. So take a look at this. You can download this from their website. So that sits on the website, which is sustfest.org. And I think if you look at it, you will be amazed at how much you can contribute to sustainability and how much is going on in St Albans. Whoops.
Now before we do Redborn Recommends, Olive, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, there's a couple more bits we've got to do.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check. Yeah, okay.
Right, so on May the 24th, we've got the inaugural event of the St Albans Climate Action Group, and Professor Kate Jeffrey is explaining the climate crisis and what you can do about it. And that's being done for Redbourn. And if you just go online, I've just registered myself this morning. It's on the Redbourners Facebook page. And on May the 26th, we have AIR has its own special edition of the Community Newsbite. as part of the Sustainability Festival. And I would like to just pass over to Ivan, who's going to tell us a bit about the great contributions we've got on May the 26th.
Good morning, everybody. So it's Ivan Hickmoth here, the other Womble. On our show on the 26th, we thought we'd do a special, which is focused on Redbourn and sustainability. So we've got a packed guest list. Let me just tell you who's joining us. So the person that's leading the whole Sustainability Festival in St Albans is going to join us, Cecile Rao. David Mitchell, our District Councillor and Parish Council Chair, has taken a lead in setting up the Climate Action Group in Redbourn, and he'll share with us some thoughts in that regard. And two of our very own stars from the village, Kate Bretherton, our tree guru, will join us. And the other Kate, Kate Ford, who is a food blogger. So she'll share some thoughts about sustainable food, how and what we eat. John Pritchard, the chair of Vere Valley Society, will join us. They're doing some very exciting and interesting work in the field. And a different perspective will be offered by Melissa Armett, Mel Armett from Affinity Water, a more corporate approach, but the big corporations have to think about sustainability. So she'll tell us about some of the things they're doing, again, in regard to Redbourn. And we'll also take a moment to do a special edition of Redborn Recommends with a sustainability focus. So it'll be a different show on the 26th of May, 2 weeks today, but do join us and enjoy it and have a think about all the many things that we can do to make it for a more sustainable planet. There are hundreds and hundreds of individual decisions we take each day, every year, that can make a difference. So back to you, Olive.
Thank you. So we're now going to go on to Redborn Recommends. And if you've enjoyed Redborn Recommends, do think about making a contribution to it. We just need a simple audio from you about what you've enjoyed. And it can be a book, it can be a video, it can be a film. And these have been really popular during COVID, and we would like some more of them. So today we've got a book being reviewed, which is called Written in Red by Anne Bishop and recommended by Holly. So I really enjoyed this recommendation. Please listen.
Hi, my name is Holly and I would like to recommend Written in Red by Anne Bishop. This is the first book of the Others series. It is a fantasy set in a modern but very different world. In this world, the Earth spirits are tangible, and an area that is recognizable as Europe is run by humans, while the continent that is recognizable as America is run by the Others. For the most part, these beings are shapeshifters that have learned to take on the appearance of humans in order to trade with and manage the humans that have come to their continent to live. I love the fact that the Others are not human at all. Most fantasy goes the other way, and it is humans that have the special characteristics or become something else, whereas here they only look human and resent any change that makes them feel more human. The main character is a young human woman who is running from something, but you don't immediately find out what. She leaves human territory and seeks sanctuary with the Others, and the mystery unravels from there. Her counterpoint is a wolf who runs the community of Others that control the city, and there are a host of humans and Others that fill out the rest of the cast. This is a fairly dark fantasy, but not as dark as some of her other books. It deals with some heavy themes, such as racism, slavery, and the environmental damage we humans are doing. But she has such a deft hand and easy writing style that it is only after finishing the book, when you can't stop thinking about it, that you realize just how much she has packed into the book. You really don't want the book to end, but the good news is there are a few more books in the same series, some following the main characters and others set within the same world. I would highly recommend Written in Red. Hi.
So thank you for that, Holly. I was really inspired by that one. So if you've enjoyed these recommendations, we'd like to hear your voice recording of one from about that you've really enjoyed. That would be wonderful. Please send any voice recordings that you can simply make on a phone to info@activeinredbourn.co.uk.
Thank you very much, Olive. And what a brilliant recommendation that was, wasn't it? It's one of my favourites, I think. It sounds really good. I'll have to get that book. Thank you very much.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah. And as Olive said there, please keep them coming. There's many of these recommendations have been really, really good, and it's great to get some more. So please send them in. Okay, and now we're at the last bit of today's performance, which is the wonderful Snatchups. I just want a quick word with David, if he's still in. Are you enrolled yet, David? Or are you still?
Yeah, I'm still here. Very much still here, Simon.
And you're still you at the moment. You're not in. So, David, good morning to you. Thanks for your patience today.
Mm-hmm.
And now I believe you've got a bit of an announcement to make today, which we're all on tenterhooks about.
Yes, absolutely. That we made the decision that very sadly we're going to call a halt to the current series of the Snatchups on the 19th of May. We're going to take a few weeks break while we concentrate on our play, Lockdown in Little Grimley. So yes, indeed, but it will be after what will be 17 exciting episodes of the current series, and it certainly seems a long time since we originally introduced the characters on the first programme way back on the 27th of January. So it's been quite an eventful journey, and I'd like to thank Hilary, Mario, Anne and Martin, who have been there obviously from the start and developed the characters through. But it is by no means the end. Absolutely, it's just so the end of this particular run. So there's obviously today's episode, so there will be the penultimate episode, which will be next week, which will end on a cliffhanger.
Oh my God! How will we survive?
That we will just leave it hanging. And then with the idea to have a final concluding episode on the very last Newsbite programme, which I think is planned for the 30th of June, where we will sort of sweep things up and it'll go into abeyance. But obviously, we never say never, and I'm sure the Snatchups will be back at some stage as opportunities arise and they're able to portray or mirror local events. So,
brilliant, thank you, David. I guess I'll think about the episode ending next week. Line of duty, eat your heart out, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks for the update. We look forward to today's and next week's, and now a short pause, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we have a special guest appearance this week from another one of our members, Trevor Oakes, who is appearing as Uncle Rodney, who makes a surprise return on some unfinished business this week.
Super duper. And now it is time to head over once again to the picturesque Hertfordshire village of St Mary's for the 16th instalment of our weekly serial, The Snatchups. When we left it last week, Brenda had refused to set foot in Stan's new caravan, Grandad had gone to a Masonic Lodge dinner with Mrs Podworthy, and Jane had announced that she might be pregnant.
Oh, Mum, what am I going to do? I'm not sure I'm ready to cope with a baby.
How did it happen?
What do you mean, how did it happen? What do you want me to do? Draw a diagram?
Well, is it Danny's?
Of course it's Danny's. We were rehearsing the bedroom scene while his parents were out, and things went, a little bit too far.
Why didn't you stop?
Well, normally the director says, cut. But he wasn't there, so we didn't.
But are you sure you're pregnant?
Well, I haven't actually done a test, but I'm pretty sure. Call it women's intuition.
Well, that isn't necessarily certain. I was sure I was pregnant once, and it turned out to be trapped wind. Go and get yourself a test. At least that way you'll be sure.
Oh, you're right. I need to know for certain. I'll go down the chemist now.
You know it's for the best. And whatever happens, me and your father are fully behind you.
Oh, thanks, Mum. See you later.
Right. Well, I think I'll stick the kettle on and enjoy a bit of peace and quiet. Stan and Tim have gone for a drink at the Hollybush, and Jane will be at least half an hour, so I'm going to enjoy a little bit of time to myself. I wonder who that can be. Uncle Rodney, what are you doing here?
Hello, Brenda. May I come in?
Well, this is a little unexpected. I thought you were moving abroad.
Well, that's what I've come to talk to you about. I didn't want to go without saying goodbye. It's been a long time, Brenda. We've not seen each other since the camping trip.
We promised we'd never talk about that again. What happened, happened. And now we've just got to forget about it and move on.
But that's just it. I can't forget about it. I've tried to put it behind me. I've tried to suppress my feelings, but I'm just not able to. I love you, Brenda, and I always have. Everything changed for me that weekend, and I hoped that maybe things had changed for you too.
Rodney, don't do this.
I've put my life on hold for you. There was never anyone else. It was bad enough when you chose Stan over me all those years ago. And then when you got back in touch, I thought maybe things were different, that you'd changed your mind.
I just wanted to make sure you were all right, that you had moved on, that you were happy.
How could I be happy knowing that you were with Stan? But if you just wanted to know I was all right, why invite me on a camping trip?
It was a mistake. I wasn't thinking straight. I shouldn't have invited you, and then it would never have happened.
But it did. And I don't remember you trying to stop it.
What's this about, Rodney? Why are you really here? I thought you were going away.
I am. And I want you to come with me.
What?
I'm flying to Barbados tonight, and I've booked 2 tickets, first class. I've come into some money, and we'll never want for anything again. You'll have the life you always wanted, every luxury you can imagine. What do you say?
Well, I don't know. It's all so sudden.
And what's keeping you here? This house? This life? Stan?
Stan's a good man and a good husband.
Stan is a loser and a waster who will never amount to anything.
Stan has always done his best, and he's always put his family first.
Well, when was the last time he took you anywhere? A week in a leaky caravan? Is that all you've got to look forward to? I'm offering to take you away from all this forever. A one-way ticket to the Caribbean, a luxury villa, a swimming pool, servants, everything you could want.
I'm sorry, Rodney. I can't go with you. St. Mary's might not be Barbados, but my life is here with my family.
But I love you, Brenda. You'll never get an opportunity like this again. But if you do want to come with me, we have to leave right away. It's now or never.
I'm sorry, Rodney. The answer's no.
Oh, please, Brenda. I don't want to go on my own. You won't regret it.
I'm sorry, Rodney, but I can't.
Then I suppose that's it. There's nothing more to say. You've made your mind up and nothing I can do is ever going to change it. So, this is goodbye, Brenda. Forever. I don't expect that we will ever meet again.
Goodbye, Rodney, and good luck. I did have feelings for you, but they just weren't enough.
I'll let myself out the back way. I don't want anyone to see me leaving.
Mom, I'm back from the chemist and I bought a pregnancy test. Oh, are you all right, Mum? You look like you've been crying.
It's nothing. I've just had to say goodbye to an old friend. He's moving abroad. I don't expect I'll ever see him again.
Well, I'm sure you'll still be able to keep in touch.
I think it's probably better that we don't. Some things are best left. It's time to move on and put the past behind me.
Right. Well, in that case, I'll go and take this test. We do need to know for certain one way or another, but I have to say I'm a little bit nervous.
Well, whatever the result, you know that we will be there to support you.
Oh, thanks, Mum. See you in a minute.
I'm back from the holly bush. Tim stayed on with a few of his mates.
I love you, Stan Snatchup, with all my heart, and I always have.
Blimey, what's brought this on? I should go to the pub more often.
No, I mean it. I love you, and I don't think I tell you often enough. You're not perfect, and I don't like it when you leave your nail clippings in the bath. But there's nowhere else I would rather be, and no one else I would rather be with. And to prove it, I've changed my mind, and the answer's yes.
Yes?
Yes, I will go on holiday in your beaten-up old caravan. So get out there and start smartening it up, because we have a wedding anniversary to celebrate. And I think some time away together will do us good after all that's happened recently.
Well, that's great news, Brenda. But why the change of heart?
Someone reminded me today just how important your family is and how lucky you are to have them. You never truly realise what you have until you face losing it. I don't need a fancy house and a luxury lifestyle. I'm happy here with you, Tim and Jane, living our ordinary humdrum life.
And I'm happy living it too. I never told you this before, Brenda, and I'm not very good with words. But what I really want to say is...
Oh, Mum, guess what? The test was negative. It turned out to be just trapped wind. I'm not pregnant after all.
Oh, that's great news.
Well,
Oh, I feel so relieved.
Well, I'm not surprised after that. Do you mind if I just open the window?
At least you can now relax and get on with your life, Jane. But you need to be more careful in the future. The last thing I need right now is any more bad news.
Stan, Brenda, I've got some more bad news. I've just been talking to Mad Dog and Psycho, and last night someone stole all the money from the Bellamy brothers' safe. They're absolutely hopping mad and determined to get revenge on whoever did it.
That sounds like very bad news for whoever it was. Do you have any idea who it might be?
They think it was Uncle Rodney. And on that bombshell, we must leave it for this week. Has Uncle Rodney flown to Barbados to escape the Bellamy brothers? Has Brenda dodged a bullet in more ways than one? Will Stan and Brenda's caravan holiday ever get off the drive? And will Jane manage to make it to the next episode without yet another disaster? All will be revealed in next week's exciting episode of The Snatchups.
What can I say? What an absolutely fantastic episode, guys. I mean, they've all been good, but that was an absolutely brilliant one. I just cannot wait for next week. So on that note, thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again next Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock for the penultimate Snatch-Ups and another action-packed show. Thank you, everybody, and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. This was the penultimate one.
Sorry, David.
Oh,